The storm outside hadn't yet reached the small corner diner when everything changed, but inside, the air already felt heavy, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. It began on an ordinary morning, the kind that never warns you when life is about to shift forever. Emily, the young waitress with tired eyes and a hopeful heart, was wiping down the counter when an elderly man in a worn-out gray coat pushed open the door. She didn't know it then, but this man, quiet, slow-moving, always holding his cup of coffee with both hands, as if anchoring himself to the world, would alter her life in ways she could never have imagined. If you believe kindness still matters, and that second chances can change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more real and inspiring stories to the world. Emily had only worked at the diner for 3 months when the old man first came in. His name was Mr. Harris, not that he ever offered it, but she noticed it neatly stitched into the inside of his hat. He always sat at the same table near the window. He always ordered the same thing, black coffee and 2 slices of toast. And he always left the same tip, a single crumpled dollar. It wasn't much, but he always folded the bill with such gentle care that Emily sensed it meant something. She sensed he meant something. Most mornings, Mr. Harris seemed lost inside his own thoughts, staring out the window with a look Emily had seen before only in people who had lost more than they ever admitted. And though he rarely spoke, Emily made sure his coffee was warm, his toast was cut just the way he liked, and his table was always waiting. Emily was struggling with her own storms, medical bills from her mother's illness, overdue rent notices that kept arriving in red envelopes, and a constant fear that she was one small mistake away from losing everything she was trying so desperately to hold together. But every time she saw Mr. Harris walk in, something inside her softened. His presence felt like a quiet reminder that no matter how hard life became, someone else out there might be fighting a silent battle too. One cold morning, she noticed his hands shaking worse than usual. Without thinking, she reached out and steadied the cup before it spilled. That was the first time he truly looked at her, really looked at her. And Emily saw tears welling at the corners of his eyes. He whispered the faintest thank you, and she felt her heart crack open. From then on, she helped him more each day. She packed him an extra sandwich when she realized he wasn't eating enough. She discreetly paid for his meal when he couldn't. She took the time to sit with him for a moment when the diner was slow, getting him conversation, even when he barely responded. She didn't do it for praise or recognition. She did it because she knew loneliness when she saw it. She did it because kindness was all she had left to give. Until one morning he didn't come. Not the next day either, nor the day after that. Emily worried silently but had no way to reach him. Days became weeks. The empty table near the window felt wrong, like a missing piece of the diner's heartbeat. Emily carried that absence with her like a stone. Then, on a quiet Tuesday morning, everything changed. The diner door swung open with an intensity that made every customer look up. 4 men in black suits and earpieces walked in, first bodyguards. Behind them came 2 lawyers carrying thick folders. The diner fell silent. Emily froze, a tray in her hand, her heart hammering in her chest. One lawyer stepped forward, scanning the room until his eyes landed on her. "Are you Emily? Emily Carter?" Her throat tightened as she nodded. The man's expression softened. "We've been looking for you," he said. Regarding Mr. Harris, Emily felt her knees weaken. Is he okay?" The lawyer exchanged a glance with the others, then stepped closer. "Mr. Harris passed away peacefully 2 weeks ago." The news hit her like a wave, knocking the breath from her lungs. She felt the world blur as she lowered the tray onto the nearest table. The old man who sat by the window every morning, who held his coffee like it was the only warmth he had, was gone, and she hadn't even known. The lawyer continued gently. "Before he passed, he left very specific instructions involving you." Emily blinked in confusion. "Me? Why me?" They handed her a sealed envelope, heavy, thick, and handled with reverence. Inside was a handwritten letter. The moment she opened it, her hands trembled. The words were shaky but intentional. He wrote that she had been the only person who noticed him, who cared for him without judgment, without pity. He wrote that after losing his wife and son, he had stopped believing people could still be good. But Emily restored that belief. Her kindness had brought light back into the final months of his life. And then, the letter revealed the truth that nearly made her collapse. Mr. Harris was not just an old man in a worn coat. He was the founder of a once massive company. A man who had stepped away from wealth and power after tragedy shattered his heart. And in his final act of gratitude, he left Emily the portion of his estate that had remained entirely under his personal control. Not millions, but enough to erase her debts, pay for her mother's medical care, and give her the life stability she had prayed for every night. The lawyers confirmed it. The bodyguards escorted them only because the transfer of assets required protection. Everything was real. Emily stood in the middle of the diner shocked, crying, unable to speak, as every customer watched quietly, moved by the weight of the moment. Mr. Harris had seen her kindness. He had felt it, and he had chosen to repay it in the most extraordinary way possible. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support encourages us to create more inspiring stories that celebrate kindness and humanity. Before you go, please comment, kindness lives on.